The opinions expressed on the radio program by the hosts, co-hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Gynesis Radio, www.gynesisradio.com, Gynesis Radio's owners, management, or affiliates.
Good evening, and thank you again for tuning in to GenesisRadio.com. My name is Kendall Stevenson, and I am the host. Here with me is a young lady. Her name is Shaquana Terry, and she is the co-host. And together, we are the Empowerment Show. As usually, we start a show off with some sort of gratitude, but today I'm going to start it off by paying homage to a young lady who actually deserves it. Her name is Tamiko Patterson, and she has recently received an award from the NAACP for her dedication to the community, for her uplifting of her people. So I just wanted to pay homage to her and say thank you very much, and I'm very glad to know her.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yes. That's an amazing accomplishment. She's an amazing woman as well. She has accomplished so many things. So we are at the Empowerment Show. We are so proud of you, Tamiko, and we know that you'll continue to do great things. Congratulations once again.
Okay, so today we have a couple of young ladies here with us. And if you'd like to give us a call, please give us a call at 888-304-4401. I'd like to introduce you to these young ladies, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll start with this one first.
Hi, my name is Kathy Papiti. I work for Family Promise of the Poconos in fundraising, fund development, corporate sponsorships.
I am Enid Logan. I am the Executive Director of Family Promise of the Poconos.
Okay, now I was looking it up, and I noticed you guys, it's formally the Poconos. It's actually the Monroe County now.
No, it was Monroe County.
It was
Now
Monroe
is-
County.
yeah, we're expanding.
So is that expanding?
Yes, we are in Pike County now.
Okay, how about
Pike
Carbon County? You guys
Not yet.
touching that a little bit?
Not
But
yet.
in the future, you plan to be that way?
No, we'll see. They
I
have a
think
family
They
promise
have their
there.
own.
Oh, they have their own.
Yeah, in Carbon County.
Okay, so we're going to start with you. We had a nice long conversation on the phone. Come on. We're going to have a good one here. So we're going to do it on your background. Tell me who you are, where you come from, and how'd you get to be who you are today?
I've been in the area for about 25 years. I'm Bronx born and bred, and then moved up this way. And I've always been in finance. I was a financial analyst for over 25 years. Then after that, I kind of split my time between either the staffing industry or the healthcare industry. And that went up until 2017. And then I kind of switched courses and for the first time got involved with local government. And it was a completely different line of work for me. I think, sometimes you just kind of burn out of what you've done forever. And I really loved being involved with the constituents and with the community and being able to help. And you really feel like you make a difference. So I kind of stuck with that. And then the person I worked for retired. So I then headed up the Chamber of Commerce last year, the Pocono Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And now I am with Family Promise. I think since that stint in government, I like being able to stay involved where I live, as opposed to before where I used to maybe commute 2 states over.
So is that what motivated you to do what you do?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's always nice to feel that you make a difference. And when you're in finance, I was a revenue specialist. So I was always able to tie back my worth, if you want to say it that way, to look at either what I brought in, what I saved, where it came from, what it got. I worked for a hospital system, what it got the hospital system, projects I worked on, what kind of revenue it brought in, new revenue streams. That's what I was always good at, and I enjoyed it. But after a couple of decades...
You're speaking French to me. She can actually...
I was going to say, you told me
Well,
that.
with Shaquana, she's an MBA. She is fantastic when it comes to finances. So you guys actually kind of speak the same language.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let her ask you a couple of questions.
Somewhat. The only question that I actually, when you were talking, I wanted to know, just tell the listeners in regards to your involvement with Family Promise, right? I mean, you are head of finance at Family Product?
No,
Promise?
we don't have departments like that.
Okay.
So they brought me in, I came in January,
Mhm.
and they brought me in for fundraising. So fundraising, corporate donations, but taking charge of the volunteers, events, fundraisers, things like that.
Okay. So with the fundraising and just corporate sponsorship, do you find it difficult trying to get corporate sponsorship at this time? Because I know there are a lot of
It
companies
is
pulling back.
because it's cyclical. When I came in January and I was trying to call the people that I had contacts and relationships with, a lot of the bigger companies in the area, their donation dollars are decided for the next year in December. So I literally came in right as the door closed. But I don't like to take no for an answer. So there are certain organizations that I have made my presence more than known. And just if I'm supporting you, I kind of expect that you would do that as well. I mean, it helps that I believe in where I work for. If I didn't, I'm not one of those people, you'll find that out about me. I don't have it in me to be fake. So I need to believe in what I'm doing or who I'm doing it for. So this place is easy because their mission is amazing. The people they serve are amazing. It's easy for me to be comfortable with that and go out and promote it.
Okay.
So it is difficult right now because I was told by every single one of them no. And I actually just put feet to the street on Monday and just went knocking on all the doors again. Because some people do have their fiscal year that starts July 1st. Not everybody's a January through December type
Right.
of business. Some are July 1st through June 30th. So knowing that that's coming up and the discussions are being had, I want to have a seat at the table.
Okay. And working with corporate sponsorships and volunteers, do you head up the portion of the program where the corporate sorry, excuse me. Do you head up the part where the corporation actually is able to give back dollar for dollar for volunteers? Because there are certain programs where if volunteers actually come from that particular corporation, Family Promise will be added to their listing to be able to match dollar for dollar.
No, we're not there yet. Our volunteers are completely separate. The volunteers that we have now are helping me plan out the things to do fundraising. So we don't have that corporate match yet. Like I know exactly who you're thinking of,
Yeah.
like other organizations might.
Yeah.
No, we're not there yet, but that actually has been in my head, going in and saying, I worked for several companies that did that. If you agree to take $5, $10, $1, whatever out of your paycheck, we will give you a day off as the company. And that in turn goes to the organization that you're supporting. So
You're a nonprofit organization.
we
correct?
are a straight up 501c3, absolutely in every sense
So
of the word.
what we were going to ask is, you said volunteers. I heard the word volunteers.
Volunteers.
So how do you get the volunteers? How do you become a volunteer?
You can always get in touch with me on our website. There is a section about staff, and it will it'll show you who I am and an email address. You can email me. I'm happy to leave it with you. If anybody out there is really good at spelling, it's C Papiti, P as in Peter, OPPITI at all one word familypromisepa.org. You can do that. You can call me at the main number. I am option number 8. Leave me a message. But every time I go out to an event, I always have something that sits on my table that says volunteers needed.
Okay.
So people walk by, they want to know about who you are and what you do, whether or not you need help. I'm the girl you want to see.
Okay.
I will always need help.
We're gonna move on to this.
Thank
young
you.
lady. Thank you. We
You're welcome.
really
I'm
appreciate
not
it.
shy.
And I'm gonna come back to you because I'm still gonna want to know a little bit more information.
You
And
scare
so
me.
don't let me scare you. We want to put it up on our board, and we want the listeners to be able to at least hear what you had to say, and they can get the information. Okay. Young lady, hi, you're up.
All right, same question.
Same question.
So I came to
First, we got to say who you are. They don't know
Logan,
who
it's
you are.
Enid Logan, Executive Director of Family Promise. So
Okay.
I came to the agency a little differently. My background is in journalism. I was actually a newspaper reporter, became a newspaper editor, became a newspaper publisher, and then realized with 3 children college age that I really needed to step up my income. I was a single mom. So I turned to nonprofit healthcare management. And I was hired by a hospital. I've worked for Planned Parenthood in the communications development departments. When this job came up, I was working for a nonprofit in New Jersey and threw my hat in the ring and was hired, and that was 7 years ago. We have built the agency, which our primary mission, for those who may not know and don't want to go to the website, we provide emergency shelter to homeless children and their families. These are families who are literally sleeping in their cars, on the street, in a tent with no place to go. We provide that shelter. We have case managers who work with our families. It's a program we offer. You're not just going to come and have us pay for you to either sit in a hotel or sit in one of our apartments. We work with you. If you're not working, we help you get a job. We offer free date or assistance with childcare in the event that the child is too young for school. We will pay for 4 weeks of childcare to let the moms or dads go out, apply for jobs, interview for jobs, and hopefully get a full-time job. Once they get a job, we immediately start looking for an apartment for them. That said, what really our focus has turned to over the years is preventing that homeless situation. Step in when the eviction notice arrives, pay the back rent, keep them where they are, because if we bring them into shelter, it's going to cost us roughly $10,000 to move them into their own place, as opposed to a $2,000 or $3,000 past due rent bill. So at all costs, if anybody out there is struggling with their rent and has an eviction notice or is imminent for having their house taken away from them, call our agency, 570-420-8589. Any number you push will get you to a case manager.
Well, we're going to come back today again because, like I said, I needed that information to be put out there again so we can actually put it up on the board. It will be put up on the Gynesis Radio board, and then it will also be put up on the PAEmpowermentShow.com. It will also be put up on that board as well.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
So this was your passion to get you in here, or what was your passion to drive?
Nonprofits has been my passion my entire life. I guess I'm always there fighting for the underdog. And in so many situations we see, it is not their fault. You know, everyone wants to blame someone who's homeless. It's, landlords come in, raise their rent from like $900 to $1,300 or $1,400 a month. Well, who's making, minimum wage can afford that increase? So that's resulting in a lot of evictions because, the landlord says, well, if you don't pay it, somebody else will. And it's true. Somebody will come along and pay $1,400 for a one-bedroom apartment. So we're seeing a lot of that. So I think I was just always in it for helping my fellow residents.
So you're there prior to them being evicted. What happens to them after they become evicted?
Well, if they can find someplace, we can quickly get them in that place. We can pay the first, last, and security. We're funded by the state and the federal governments that gives us that housing money to, pay the first, last, and security.
Yeah, I heard you said something about so that the young man or people can go out and get a job. If you're evicted, you really don't have an address, right?
Exactly.
So if you don't have an address, you may not have identification. So what do we do about that?
We don't care about that.
Okay.
We assume you've lost everything if you're homeless. We're not looking for any documents. We are a barrier-free shelter. We don't do drug tests. We don't do drug screen, nothing. You come in, tell us your situation, show us what documents you have, and then, we can bring you in and start working with you.
And you work with other organizations.
Oh, we do.
Like Crossroads?
Crossroads, Street to Feet, Path, Safe Monroe. Yes, all the housing partners, the Housing Authority. Yeah.
And you're originally from?
I originally was born and raised in Morristown, New Jersey.
So what brought you to Pennsylvania?
Marriage. Divorce.
She said,
Marriage.
Everything
marriage
brought me here.
and divorce.
Well,
Well, I tell you, we're very glad that you decided to stay. I'm not happy that you got divorced, but maybe
Yeah.
you are. But we need more people like yourself, like Kathy, in our community. That's actually what we're trying to do on this radio show is we're actually trying to bring our community together. We're trying to make our community DEI.
Yes,
Okay, that's what because we're already a diverse community.
exactly.
Yeah, we just and we're already inclusive. I don't get it. We all live here in the same boat, so
Right, right.
we're already doing the things that people say we shouldn't do, like be woke. So, Jose, what's happening, brother?
How y'all doing?
I know
Y'all?
you got a word for me.
This is Jose Rosario of Advanced Maneuvers Entertainment. I came on the show to actually share stories of me going through homelessness. To start off, I lived in Poughkeepsie, New York at the time. This was probably like 2017, 2018. And I was pretty much losing everything. Lost my apartment, my car, place of employment, and through the grace of God, I was given an opportunity to live in a nightclub. I actually was
Wow.
had a client who owned a nightclub, and he heard what was going on. He said, "Hey, move upstairs. I don't want you out in the street. That is not a place for you." Thank God I had, a roof over my head. Was able to bring my bed into the place, so that was good. I only had a toilet and a sink. Did not have a shower. And I used to have to ride the bus every day to go to Planet Fitness. Thank goodness I was able to maintain that membership because
Get a shower.
yeah, I
baby.
need a shower. Like, I still had to, be presentable,
Mhm.
During that time, it was rough because like I was surviving on like $200 a week.
Mm.
And it was times where like, even leading up to that point, even before the $200 a week when I had nothing, I remember sharing a can of beans with my dog, and she was a Chihuahua. And I'll never forget. I had her for like 10 years, and she passed away 2020. That was like the love of my life. She was there with me through everything, and she knows things that nobody else knows, and it was definitely tough. But yeah, so I remember times where we shared a can of beans, and I remember it was like a Mexican style refried beans, like, and we just shared it, because that was legit the only thing we had to eat, and I had to make calls to my mom, like, "Mom, can you like send me $20 so I can buy a pie of pizza so I can eat a slice a day?" Like, what I'm saying, just survival mode, and that's what I was going through. But in this span of like 9 months, I was in this club working, surviving, and this is where I found my passion of wanting to be in entertainment. So I know my story is like a success story out of it, and is where I found what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I know other people's aren't, or other stories like this, they don't have the same story, I should say. And then the durations for other people are a lot longer. So I gotta say, my situation is a little different because I had a roof over my head. But also found myself in a place where I couldn't qualify for anything. I remember looking for help and assistance. I was a single man. There's like nothing out there for single men, as far as like
Housing.
Yeah,
Shelter.
Yeah, nothing. There was nothing for me at the time. Like I couldn't even get help with like first month's rent or anything. So I was like literally fell through the cracks of every program there, and I was like, I need help. What do I do from here? Because
You needed to call
can get
family
worse.
practice.
Family promise.
promise.
Family
promise.
I'm saying
Yeah,
family
but,
practice.
you know-
Like to the doctor, right?
It's interesting because I feel as if, there's so many people out there. You think that when you think of homelessness, you don't think of someone like you, Jose, or
Mhm.
even someone like me, right? There are people that have 9 to 5s that live in their cars, right?
Mhm.
The state of homelessness in this country alone, I'm not even going to talk about any other country, but in this country alone, there's so many people that are homeless and are in need. Now, when determining with Enid and Kathy, but when determining the resources that are needed for the people that are homeless, or at risk of homelessness, what questions do you ask, one, and are there any other resources that would help them get to that point where they're on their feet and then they stay on their feet?
Well, there are. We definitely have one of the standard intake sheets. So we ask them various questions. Are you working? How many children? Their names, their ages, things like that, to try to drill down to see what is the issue. Like they could be maybe $300 short on their rent. Fine, we could take care of that. That's not an issue. They come in and they haven't worked in 2 years, no reason. So we have to kind of raise our eyebrows and have a little heart to heart with them and say, I've got 6 other families here, fully working, kids are at school, just a little bit short. So I'm going to give our attention and resources to them. When you're working or have a job offer, come back to us. Because if they're not sustainable, it does me no good to pay off a $5,000 rent.
Mm-hmm.
If next month they're going to be behind again. And then in 2 months, you're going to be $3,000 in debt. It's like, it's not a cycle we want to encourage.
Well, how about if you got a person that's actually motivated, that actually has skills and willing to work,
Right.
want to work,
We'll
they
work.
pay us the rent,
We
but
can
the
work
next
with
month
them
they
with,
still hadn't gotten
with
the
career
job.
link,
Oh,
with workforce
career link,
development.
yeah.
You know, we will work with them
Mhm.
to get them a job, to line up the interviews, to make sure that they're prepared. And
Yeah.
also in our program, you know, once families are with us, whether it's, you know, your typical family of mom, dad, and kids, or just a single mom, you know, or we had recently a single dad with 2 kids. We will also, wow, I lost my train of thought. Don't get old.
I know
Don't get
what I was
old.
going to say. We continue.
Don't get old?
One-
Wait, what did she say? Don't get old?
Uh-oh, don't get him started. Don't get him started.
She ain't looked at
Don't
me.
get him started.
You looked at me, don't get old.
I'm putting myself above that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Don't get old.
So what I was going to say is once we help them, we call them the next month.
Okay.
Then the next month. So for some programs, it's a 3-month, some are 6. The shelter families, we follow for a whole year. So every month, once they're housed, we're going to call them. You okay? What do you need?
Make sure that they stay on track.
Right.
Okay.
You
I
know,
like
we
that.
also, we
Yeah.
provide financial literacy classes. We don't just like, you know, set you up and get you on a good path and then throw you to the wolves. We'll set up, you know, we have financial literacy classes. We have parenting skills. You know, we connect them with those social services that are needed also. So everything that can make you well-rounded and prepared to take what life throws at you. You know, we try and give you that little bit of education and information as well. This way it makes you more prepared.
What we have noticed, I'm just going to jump in and
Okay.
in the last 6 months or so, what we've noticed coming to our doors is the lack of food in the house.
Wow.
We've had school districts call us telling us that students have said they have no food in the house. So we got a very nice grant from the Pocono Mountains United Way to provide food to the community. So at any given hour of the day while the doors are open, we will get 2, 3, 4 families coming to the door
Every day.
every day looking for, we give them gift cards along with the list of the food pantries in the community, because some people are not aware that there is a food pantry and how much you can get there. So we do like kind of a little mini education. Here it is, this is what you need to do. We also have a grant for diapers. And
Really?
so we get a lot of people
Those are
coming.
expensive.
They are. Diapers are real. They're like $60 a box for
Yes.
one. And I'm sure it doesn't last a child.
Not very long.
Maybe like
No.
a week or so. And that's
Yeah.
it.
And they come back every week, and we're happy to do it. You know, the garage, we have a 7-bay garage in the back of our building that we just store all this. So there's boxes of diapers, boxes of wipes, baby cream, diaper cream, the whole 9 yards. So you have to kind of take a step back and say, what am I seeing? And then I go to work writing grants, and that's how we are funded.
Yeah. And I think that, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to ask, so you got a person, let's say, in Jose's position. He's not married, doesn't have a family, but he's homeless. How do you help him out?
We'll work with them to find an apartment. We have a lot of contacts with landlords. What this community, I'm sure a lot, we're not the only ones. There's just no rooms, none of that anymore. You can't rent a room. You can't rent a 1-bedroom. Yeah, there's so few. But I mean, we would probably pay for you to stay in a hotel until we could find you a place.
Man, I needed you guys like years ago.
And you know, there were resources and programs out there. I think some people it's hard for people to find them, right?
Exactly.
And even in this community, there's so many pantries that provide food, and there's still so many people that don't go. My church actually has a pantry, and there's an excess of food left over because no one's coming for it, but then everyone's hungry. So it's almost like, how do you get the word
Right.
out to the communities
That's
to be able to?
That was a big thing for us to come here. We needed to get, how many times I'm going to businesses and say, a lot of people know me from the chamber, a lot of people know me from working with government. And I say I'm with Family Promise now, and I get a blank look. We need to get our name out there because, we can't very well hang out a shingle because, we do have occasional domestic violence, people that stay with us as well. And you don't want to just advertise like with a big arrow, but at the same time, they need to be aware. This is who we are. This is what we do. Just because you've never heard of us doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. And that's the whole thing, to get it out.
Shaquana,
Yes.
you said your church has a pantry, correct?
Yes.
And the name of your church is
It's Faith International Church.
Faith International
Mhm.
Church. Where are you located?
537 Bridge Road. Right here in
537 Bridge Road.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for us to take a little station break to let people know who we are. We are GenesisRadio.com. Our telephone number is,
888-304-4401.
and we're located at,
383 East Brown Street in East Charlottesville, Pennsylvania, right
And you
there
know
in the
what,
beautiful Pocono Mountains.
you drink teas?
I
You guys
do.
like teas? I got a tea for that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a young lady, her name is Kim,
Mhm.
and she makes her own tea. She's gorgeous, great with the tea. She actually has a little tea bags, and she's wonderful. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, and then we can move on.
And you know what? There's a segment of the show where we mention, or we actually give homage or pay homage to like someone in the community. And there is someone that works in the Perkins on Milford Road. Her name is Hope, and she's an older lady, but she is amazing. Her customer service is amazing, and every time I go in there, she's like waffles, which means I go in there way too much, right? But she is amazing, and she's always willing to help. And I just want to give her flowers. Hope, I don't remember her last name, but she has every Sunday I go there, and my daughters and I have brunch, and she's always been fair and consistently nice. So thank you, Hope, at Perkins on Milford Road.
Is that the one off of 209?
That is on
Oh,
209.
right,
yeah.
right by exit 305.
No, not
No,
that
that's
one.
Not that one.
That's Stroudsburg.
Okay.
This one is near
further up.
I guess the Domino's Pizza and the Retro Fitness over there in that
Okay.
particular
Oh,
plaza.
yeah, I think I know where it's
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
I know
Her
what
name.
you're talking
Ask for
about.
her when you go in. She's amazing.
Don't forget to ask for Hope. Hi, Hope. So, ladies, let's get back to the situation at hand. So, I was explaining to you that my background is that I came out of Brownsville, Brooklyn. And as I was coming up, it wasn't known as the ghetto, it was called the slum. So for me, I got it. I hopped from, I was originally in a group home, foster home, group home, and you know the road that I traveled. I just want to let you know that there are people out there like me, and my man was talking about a success story. Well, people look at me and say I'm a success, and I say you're absolutely right, especially from where I come from. You can't measure my success. Only I can do that. So if you feel that you're successful, you are. I look at you and I told you before, and I'm so proud of you from where your beginnings are
Well,
to where
thank
you
you.
have come now. Right?
Thank you
You
very
said
much.
that, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
ladies, I really appreciate what you do because of people like him and people like me are the ones who actually need the help. Okay, I mean, I was at a time where my mother would go knock on the doors to try to get an apartment, and what would they? You have children.
Yeah.
So we actually had a point in our time where if you had kids, you couldn't get an apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that
And-
today.
And back in my time, we actually didn't have much of a welfare system. We had the shopping cart. We had to go down to the church, the pantry. You got the cheese and the
I was just
milk.
thinking of the cheese.
Right,
yeah.
you got everybody thinks
Bread,
about that
yeah.
yellow cheese
Yeah,
or
the whole block of
the
it.
green eggs and ham. You know, people really don't think that exists, but it does. Green eggs and hams exist. So we used to go to the pantry and we had to load up. We didn't have organizations like you guys, you know. And like I told you before, we are very appreciative to have you in the community. So I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, and you can tell us a little bit
Just
more
off
about
of
your
what you
organization.
said, we also help individuals like that have maybe been in the foster system. Once you hit 18, now what? So,
Mhm.
I mean, Enid knows the stats better than I do that, we've helped a number of individuals like that once they hit 18, there's nowhere to go. So, they've come to us as well.
Yes, and we've provided
And-
shelter. for
Right,
them.
and they don't have kids, or whatever, but they need to find their way and they need a solid footing. We do our best to provide that for them.
Was that back in the day? The kids used to go away to get an education.
Job.
Job.
Job Corps,
Job
yeah.
Corps.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's old school.
That's
Yeah.
bringing back.
They don't even hear about that no
I
more.
remember Job Corps, and I'm 43, so I remember that. I had a couple of cousins that had to go there,
My
especially from New
daughter.
York.
One of my daughters.
I remember that.
But you guys are kind of like that Job Corps where you're talking about how you can bring the people in, you can help educate them. You can also do a little bit more than Job Corps because you can help house them,
Yep, landlord
them-
tenant
actually help them
classes,
get a job.
everything.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I think that's very commendable. Tell me a little bit more about your organization.
So we also offer transportation. We're one of the few agencies that has their own vehicle so that we can transport
Oh,
parents
wow.
to doctor's appointments, to the grocery store, to job interviews.
Occasionally the kids going to school, make sure they
Yes.
stay in their school district.
Yes,
That's, you don't want them uprooted.
right. Wherever they're enrolled in school when they become homeless, we work with the school districts to make sure that those children stay in the district that they were in to give them some continuity. Because it is very taxing on children and the parents when they become homeless. Children don't need to worry about where they're going to sleep tonight or
Mhm.
tomorrow night. They need to know they have a place, and here it is, and this is where we're going to be. And when you change that or alter that, for some children, it's very hard. And it's like a crisis to them. And so that's why we don't want to keep them in shelter indefinitely. We kind of look like, here you got 2 weeks. Let's see if we can get you a job. Another 2 weeks. Okay, we're going to hit the street. We're going to talk to landlords. And then we inspect the properties before we put them in. You know, you've got my level. If I wouldn't put my children in, they're not going in.
Mm.
But we also do it for a HUD safety. So we make sure the screens are on the window, the door's locked, the window's locked. There's ventilation in the bathrooms. There's hot and cold running water. There's no holes in the walls. And that, that would fail our inspection. So you work with the landlord. Can you patch the holes? Can you patch the floor? Make it safe for the children. Then they can go in.
I tell you, along with homeless being a big issue and a hot topic, especially in this country, end of the month we're going to have some people that's going to be on from California, and as you know, it's crazy with tents and the way that they're going. But my main question is I like to ask you, along with the homelessness, how do you deal with like mental health?
That
issues?
is a very difficult issue because when you do the initial interview with parents, nobody wants to admit they have mental health issues. No one. It's after they come into shelter that they confide in you. Oh yes, I have depression and I have bipolar, and no, I haven't taken my medicine because I
Can't afford it.
exactly.
Mhm.
So we pay to get them their medicine, or if they need a mental health diagnosis, we work with the physicians in the community to get them diagnosed, which opens all kinds of doors. It's hard because we're dealing with more so up in Pike than Monroe we've seen, but no, there's a fair amount of it out there. And, children and youth are usually involved at that point, so you work with them. You don't want them to be homeless, and you want the families intact. You don't want children with grandparents and with their dad. You want them all together as they should be, a family. So we do what we have to kind of keep them together and get them into their own place. And then, like I say, with the 12 months of follow-up, we can kind of jump in if we see something or,
In the shelters, how do you secure it? How do you make it safe for the people that are there? I know in some of the shelters, I know in New York City, there was a big thing about the guys didn't want to stay in the shelter.
Yeah.
People didn't want to stay there because they didn't feel safe. So what means do you guys utilize in order to make the
Well,
people feel safe?
they all have key fobs. So they aren't allowed in the building unless they can scan it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when they leave, they give us the key fob back, we reprogram it and give it to the next family. There's no signage up front because, again, we have a variety of different families. Domestic violence, we have homeless youth, we just can't have the outside coming in. And we tell them if they want to meet family, they need to leave the shelter and go meet the family out in the community. We're not very restrictive, but it's very private for them.
But you were saying that battered women.
Yeah.
So you have a section that's Just
not
for
as
battered women,
Well,
or
they're living amongst the other families. We don't section them off.
but if they're battered, then how do you protect them from, let's say, I don't know, their spouse or someone coming in that want to do harm?
They wouldn't be able to come in. They don't have the key fob.
Yeah, they have to, and, we've had that situation before where he has seen her on the street and followed her.
Oh, wow.
So, we do then work with Safe Monroe and see if we can't get that family into there. But generally they call us to say we're full, take our family. So we do, but that whole safety issue is huge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just wondering if you guys had any input with the police or.
We work with the police. They know we're here, so we've had them call us on a Friday night to say, I've got a couple in the car. She was 89 and she had a 60-something-year-old son with her.
Mm.
Not generally our population, but of course we brought him into shelter and worked with them. But again, a lot of mental health there, so it was difficult. We found them a place, and she actually left. She wanted to be with her son, who did not want to live with his mother anymore. So it was a tricky situation. They're settled now individually. So.
Okay. I definitely have a family promise story. When I was actually getting divorced sometime in 2012, it was just myself and my two daughters, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And my pastor, she said, go to United Way, go to Family Promise. And I didn't end up utilizing the services, but the people that I spoke with or emailed back and forth with, they were very, very nice, and they provided so many different options for me and my daughters if we needed them. We didn't end up needing it, but I can vouch for you guys to say that you do provide everything that a child or even a mother needs in order to be able to be successful on their own. So I definitely know that this is the real deal. I'm telling you guys that now for sure. I know it is.
A big help now also is we have 2-on-1 in place, where that's pretty recent. And by recent, I mean like within the last 5 years. That wasn't always a thing. So a lot of times if people are experiencing a housing crisis or anything like that, we will ask them to call 2-on-1, because 2-on-1 involves all of the organizations. It's not just Family Promise. They will have United Way, Safe Monroe, Street to Feet, everything like that. So they can do an initial intake, see what the issue is and who can best serve them. Do we get referred? Most of those cases, yes, we do. But still, it's nice that there are other resources in the community that are available, and you don't have to know what all they are, what all of them are. How many people I speak to didn't even know that 2-on-1 existed. And I'm like, well, I'll cut you slack there because that is kind of new. But absolutely, if you're experiencing anything, for all of your listeners, anything like that, call them. They are a community resource, and it's not just Monroe County. I don't know if it's a PA thing, but when I worked down in Northampton County, we used to promote that as well. So I believe that the call centers are county specific, but it's not just Monroe or not just Pike or Carbon or Northampton or Wayne, Lackawanna, anything like that. You can call, and wherever your call is routed to, they have the resources for what's available in that area.
Wow. And I did not know that. Did you know that, Jose?
No, I didn't know that at all.
2-on-1. Okay.
Yeah, I think it came out like
211.
4 years ago, maybe. So
988.
right, so there's
Yeah.
911 if there's a true emergency, 988 if you're having a mental health crisis,
Right.
211
That
if
is not
it's
a date,
more
but I know
of a
2-on-1.
community need, housing, homelessness, anything like that. They have resources for that.
It's a goodie.
Good. That's
How
good.
many shelters do you have? Because
Currently,
I know we have a lot of homeless people. I don't think people realize it in Monroe County, but you got like 1,000 people that are homeless every night.
Yeah.
So how much space do you have for these people? They're knocking on the door. How many people can you hold in a night or
We can
or time?
shelter, and I look at it not how many beds do we have. I look at our case managers and ask how many families are they working with. It's about 4. I mean, if you give them a 5th family, it's hard because there's a lot of other things going on in the office. So to have them devote an hour each to a family and then work with that family and touch base with that family daily, that said, we can handle, and we've had up to 17 families at one time. We have 4 units on our property on Main Street, and then the overflow goes into hotels. We work with Super 8, and a shout out to Bonnie, who has, bless her heart, anytime we call,
No,
She finds
you
us-
said Super 8.
Super
I mean,
8.
we're giving all this props to everybody.
Yeah,
Might as well
Super
try
8,
to find-
Bonnie.
Bonnie, thank you very much for
Bonnie.
your service
Yeah.
to the community.
She is wonderful. She'll always have a roof for our families. We use the Fair Bridge on Main Street as well. It's kind of closer to where we are. But that kind of is where we are. It's just, it's not that we can't take 50 families. We could, but then to give them what they need involves our case managers. And right now we have 4 in Monroe and 2 full-time in Pike. So you figure we could take up to 20 families. We're at 9 now in Monroe, but there's over 200 and some waiting on 211 right now.
Wow.
So it's like, between that and the phone calls and the referrals coming in from schools and churches and people know people who see
And the
homeless
people who just show up, right? Yeah.
or show up on
There
their
are
door.
days our front door is bananas,
Mm.
just constantly, and it's like you're looking like, you sure we don't have a sign out there? But a lot of people know, and we are a good resource for the community. We are getting ready to expand and open up another location in Pike.
I was gonna say, you need to expand, because
That's
Yeah.
what we have now, it's great.
Yep.
Really great for the community, but we need a little more.
Yes.
That's in the works.
Yes,
Um,
there's plans in the works.
Yeah.
And are you subsidized? Do you get funding from the government? I know you
We
said you
apply.
probably won't receive, but do
Yeah,
you
we
get
have a-
grants as well?
Yes. I'm the grant writer. We receive federal funds, state funds, county funds, and I write for foundations, trusts, anybody and everybody.
Mm.
I'll ask you for money.
You're the
Give me a
go-to.
grant. Yeah.
Oh, everybody
Yeah.
takes donations, right?
And donations, yes.
Does the community support you guys?
We do.
As far as the donations are
We
concerned?
do. We do get great support in the
'Cause That's,
community.
that's needed as well.
It is. So we send out an annual report every year, and we get great response to that, and that just kind of gives them a snapshot of what we did that year. So,
And I think that everybody, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I have a quick scenario only because I heard of this recently. It's from a young lady who told me she was lost her job, didn't have much of an income, but she had really good credit, and was basically taking out loans to actually taking care of herself. She didn't actually look for help at all. So she's like, man, I'm in this situation now. I'm making good money, but now I'm trying to pay back these loans, and I'm not making that income, and I'm not getting assistance, and I'm still not quite making it. Is there anything out there for people like
Absolutely.
that?
From the one who works in local government, absolutely call up your state rep or your state senator. They can reach out on their behalf, especially if it's with utility bills or anything like that. But even with creditors, my advice, having done that for 4 years, is always go to the source. If you're having trouble with your Discover bill,
Mhm.
call up Discover. They are not unreasonable people. And just say, listen, this is what I have going on. I know I owe this back. If I pay the minimum, I'll be owing you after I'm dead. So can we work on this? A lot of times, I'd say a good 75% of the time, 70%, the creditor will work directly with you if you reach out on your own. If by the time your state rep or your state senator gets involved, it's already secondhand and it looks like you didn't take the initiative. So even if you reach out and they tell you, no, we don't do that, or we already forgave the interest from whatever excuse they give you. But that's when you go then to the next level up to your local government. And when they reach out, people always have a different tune when there's, somebody higher up getting involved. But first reach out on your behalf and try and work out something. They do work, but even PP&L, MedEd, they will work with you also because speaking from one who was a victim of deregulation and your bill shoots up 30% overnight, they will work with you on that. So
That's good information.
I think so. And when it comes to credit cards too, they have credit protection. I always tell everyone, if you're going to apply for a credit card, make sure you get that credit protection because it does help. If you're going through a tough time, 1 or 2 months, sometimes even 3 months, they will pay your bill for you until you get back on your feet. So and I think it's offered on every credit card now, right? Credit protection. So I would definitely look into that. It adds an extra few cents to your
I hope
bill.
this young lady's listening because I brought it up.
Oh, she's probably listening.
Yeah.
And since we're going to reach out, so let's reach out. August 17th, August 17th. Please make sure you make a note of that. Unity in the community. We want everyone to come out. Danbury Park, August 17th. We believe the festivities starts around 12 o'clock. We're going to have painting your face for the children. We're going to have rides. We're going to have live entertainment. We got classic cars, so you can come out and look at all the nice little classic cars. And I'm sure at the beginning, like it was last year, we always say a prayer. So we're always going to have a good time. So please come out. We want the whole community, the entire community. We are one community, so let's act like it.
Where is this taking place?
It's taking place Danbury Park. Danbury Park. That would be East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Okay, so please come on out. That's August 17th. Unity in the community. If you need flyers, they're online. Okay, so just look it up. Ladies, thank you very much. We're pretty much coming to the end of what we do here. So again, we like you to give out your information and tell us who you are, how we can reach you, so people know.
Okay, again, I'm Kathy Papiti. I do fund development, volunteer work, corporate sponsorships, anything like that. If you are interested in working with us, volunteering with us, I need volunteers for everything, not only just community outreach, but planning events. If you're one of those people that likes to throw parties and you think you have a thing for it, by all means, call me up. The main number is 570-420-8589.
Yeah, and you got to slow that down because
I want to make sure first.
Our listeners,
okay, it is. Get a pen.
They're like, what did she say?
570-420-8589. I am option number 8 because when you call that number, it's automatic, voice prompting to direct you. I am option number 8, and that will take you to me. You can leave me a message, and I will gladly get back to you.
And again, I'm Enid Logan, Family Promise of the Poconos. And if you go to our website, www.familypromisepa.org, there is a section on the website asking, are you in crisis? You get a lot of referrals through there. You can do it. You kind of put your name in, your phone number, your situation, and one of the case managers will call you back within 24 hours.
You guys know Lisa Perry, Perryman?
Oh,
yes, Leslie. Yes,
Leslie Perryman.
I was like, there's a Melissa Perry.
Yes.
She'll be here June 5th.
No.
I used to work with her.
So when she comes
when
in,
I was at the hospital,
Tell her.
she was working.
no, you tell her. When she comes in, she'll be here on June 5th, same bat time, same bat channel. So you guys.
You're dating yourself.
Well, we would appreciate you to call it. No, the cartoons say the same thing. So that's what they do now in the cartoons. All right, I got you. No more Adam West. I know, I got you, right. But we want you guys to maybe call in.
Okay.
Because because I'm like I asked you before, we're gonna do a part 2 on this, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna pick a date and we're gonna have you come back because this is a crisis, not only here in Monroe County, but across the United States.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right? And a lot of people are in need. So we're gonna do a part 2, have you come back, and this way we can give this information
We
out
love
again.
that.
But please, I like you to pick up the phone or at least tune in
Okay.
to listen to this young lady.
Yes.
Okay, she has a lot to say.
Yep.
Yep. So, all right.
Good person.
I'm Kendall Stevenson.
And I'm Shaquana Terry.
We are the host and the co-host of The Empowerment Show. Look us up, GenesisRadio.com. Thank you again for tuning in.
Thank you.
And you can always give us a call at 888-304-4401. Again, thank you very much and peace. We're out.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Nice. Hope you had a good time.